Welcome to Grid Gym on a Sunday night. If you have any questions for me here in just a second or later on, I'll answer these later too, but definitely come on here, and if I ever go live, you can ask me questions directly. But I'm kind of just wasting time until people actually show up. Anyway, these are some questions that we got during the week that I thought were kind of interesting and that we can go over while people are waiting. So the first one is flaxseed oil. Should I, so the person's had some flaxseed oil from some time ago, but it wasn't long ago that it had expired. And they said, like, should I continue to take this? And was kind of skeptical of what was going on. And isn't that just as good, if not better, than fish oil? Well, flaxseed oil is alpha lipoic acid. It is, so ALA for short. And nothing wrong with it. It's probably just a few extra calories that you might not want. So is anything wrong with flaxseed oil? Probably not, but you might, for what flaxseed oil is, you might as well just use flax seeds. Because then you're going to at least get the fiber along with them. Because so fish oil would be EPA and DHA. The component in like grass-fed beef would be CLA, that's conjugated linoleic acid. CLA, EPA, DHA, so fish oil, and then grass-fed beef are going to be way better, more readily absorbed into your body than a plant-based version, and that's because the animal already did the work for us. So if you're wondering which oils to take, you're going to want to go with fish oil rather than a flaxseed oil. It's just a super easy question, but also this is part of the reason why you want to switch to grass-fed beef instead of just your standard, corn-fed beef, because they have a much higher amount of CLA, which is what you want. Also, CLA can help you lose fat too, so it's a plus. The other question was harmful seed oils, and there were some questions around this, like what are harmful seed oils? Why do I need to be aware of them? Is it all oils? What's going on there? Well, harmful seed oils would be like vegetable oils and canola oil, these kind of things. And you can just do a quick Google search and it'll give you a list of what oils probably to avoid. Avocado oil, olive oil, you're probably better off with those two. Coconut oil can be in there too. Avocado oil is so a few less, like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, I'm going to call them contaminants. Also, it has a higher temperature that it can be cooked at, so it's a good one to use. But actually, the direct oils are not where we get the majority of our harmful seed oils from. We actually, the number one source for, like, this is in the aggregate of people, but the number one source that people get their harmful seed oils from is chicken. So this is part of the reason why you want to eat chicken from a grass-fed polyphase farm. So there's one, so if you go to eatwild.com, you put in your zip code, and a bunch of different farms around your area will pop up, and you want to go directly to that source, and you'll get chickens that were raised in a more humane factor, but also they'll be better for you. You'll eat less of the harmful seed oils. So some of the things that are very clear about that is that your body, sunlight seems to be a thing, These harmful seed oils really didn't come into our lives until just maybe like 20, 30 years ago, and the explosion of skin cancers has been like an obvious thing from it. We said, okay, well, let's slather on some sunscreen. Well, sunscreen didn't do what we thought it was going to do, and you're slathering on something you might not want in your skin. Your skin does still absorb stuff. So something to think about there. And if you're interested in asking any question, go ahead and ask me down below. I'm just going to kind of going through some of the questions that we got throughout the week. So harmful seed oils is, if you probably want to get rid of the oil, like some of those cooking oils that you probably do have, but then also think about where you're getting your food and where your food got its food from. And that'll tell you a little bit about why the store-bought chicken might not be the best source of chicken that you could eat. This was a funny one. Somebody was trying to convince me that it was good for them to do high intensity interval training 5 days a week for an hour. So this is a common one. We hear this fairly often, and it's like hard to dance around. But so high intensity interval training is fantastic. Your human growth hormone goes up when you do high intensity interval training, which is great. It lubricates the joints, pulls your skin tighter to the muscle. It is the absolute number one way to burn calories in a short amount of time. The problem with high intensity interval training is that you can only do it for a finite period of time. You're only going to be able to do that for like 7 to 12 minutes. I mean, you have a very small window of time because you just are so gassed. You just can't do it for long periods of time. But it is great to do, but you're not going to do it for a whole hour. And if you tried, you would just end up holding back. You'd end up throttling yourself so hard that you weren't getting the full effect out of it, and you might as well just be doing some other, like just calling it something else, because that's not what you're doing. Also, your body is extremely taxed when it comes to that high intensity interval training. I mean, it's very, very taxing on your body. So doing it 5 days a week, you're going to need a lot of recovery. And I know I say this often, that you cannot be overworked, you can only be under-recovered, which is accurate. You cannot be overworked, but you can be under-recovered. But you're going to need a lot of recovery to deal with that amount of high-intensity interval training. So if I was going to not talk sense into you, but influence you in a positive manner, I would say keep it to 2 to 3 days a week. Most of the people that are going to work out at Grit Gym are over 50. Over 50 means their body aren't going to recover quite as fast, which means that they probably need to do even less. It's probably only 2 days a week of high intensity interval training is plenty. Remember, your body is a cardiac machine. Your steady state cardio, your ability to do that, to sustain a level heart rate for an extended period of time, is the best in the world. It's one of the few things that humans do better than all other animals, is we can run, or we can move at a sustained pace, at the same pace for an extremely long period of time. So you're a cardiac monster that doesn't need a ton of cardio. You only need maybe 4 days a week, or 4 days a month of it. It just doesn't have to be this thing that you do 5 days a week. The other questions that we got were a 30-day fast. Yes, this was amazing. So a 30-day fast, depending on the person, you could probably build up to where you're doing a 30-day fast. And depending on the person also, if you have the storage to be able to sustain yourself during that 30-day fast, it's probably perfectly fine, right? But if you're just starting out and you want to go from 0 to 30-day fast, I would encourage you to just slow down a little bit and maybe just do like 1 day, do a 24-hour fast. So you would do 7 p.m. And you wouldn't eat till the next day at 7 p.m. So you go to bed just a normal day, and the next day you just don't eat till 7 p.m. Now when you break that fast, make sure that you're doing it with food that is going to agree with your guts. So you wouldn't want to, not to be too gross and disgusting here, but you wouldn't want to eat like really spicy food, because there's nothing buffering it on the way down. You also wouldn't want to eat like super insoluble fiber, like tons of Brussels sprouts and beans and spinach and stuff like that. You probably want to stick more with like breakfast type food is probably good, like eggs and oatmeal. Eggs, bacon, oatmeal is probably a better option there, a little bit more neutral. So just think about, but 30 days is a long time. That's a long fast. Even a 10-day fast is extremely long. And fasting it does have a certain amount of health benefits, and it can really help with people that have a lot of inflammatory issues, but it's not a long-term solution, right? So 30 days is a little long. Start out with a 1 day, or 1 day is a really good way to do it too, because then you can become, like, a lot of people aren't conscious of how often they're eating, right? It's not like any of us are absolved from that. You eat the last bite of your food, of your plate, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even savor it. I've been there plenty of times. So that's one of the ways that fasting can really be nice, is that it allows you to be conscious of how often you're really reaching for food. For females, it doesn't seem to have quite as robust an effect, fasting, as it does for dudes. For dudes, testosterone goes up, our brains work better, our guts work better, our bodies work better, inflammation goes down. It's really fantastic. And that's only in the aggregate. There's plenty of girls who still get benefit out of it. It's not like you shouldn't try it. But if you do think that you are an unconscious eater, try it. Just take 1 day and just kind of pay attention to how often you're putting food in your mouth, and you'll kind of get an idea. But if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them down below, or comments. If you're getting value out of any of these videos that we're putting out, please let us know. Put it in the comments, or if you hate them, or if you think that there's something I can improve upon. I'm all for constructive criticism, so please do hit me with it. Okay, the other question was, I'm exhausted. So anytime I'm looking at a person's recovery, right? there's usually something in the routine that isn't kind of breaking down. Like you're not going to bed at a consistent time. You know, one night you're going to bed at 8, the next night you're going to bed at 2 in the morning. You know, so one thing to kind of help with this is, you know, if waking up in the morning at a certain time is important, why wouldn't going to bed at a certain time also be important? And if you're going to have an alarm set for when to wake up, why wouldn't you have an alarm set for when to go to bed? So set an alarm just in your calendar or whatever for 9:30. 9:30 it goes off. It's like, you know what? It's time for me to be heading towards the bedroom, right? So that's one thing that you can do, very easy, and then it kind of keeps us accountable to the whole going to sleep thing. So if you're regularly exhausted, that might be one thing to look at. The first thing you probably look at is your sleep. I mean, there's obviously other things, but is there an alarm set for when to go to bed? Also, setting up a routine for how you do go to bed. You know, you want to treat yourself almost like Pavlov's dog, where it's almost like as if the bedroom door, you walk through the doorway and you're like, oh man, I want to go sleep. Because you've conditioned yourself so well to your routine that it's just, that's what you do. Rachel gets on my case. She's like, she gets so frustrated. She's like, he just hits the pillow and he's out. And it is. It's like if I laid there for 2 minutes awake, I'd be like, I can't fall asleep. It's like 7 seconds and I'm gone. But it's because of that. Like my sleep is like pivotal to what I'm going to do the next day. So I treat it almost just like my nutrition or my training or anything like that. And I'd encourage you to do that also. So setting up a routine. You know, you're going to brush your teeth and you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and then you're going to go to bed. There's a bunch of these. I've done other videos on this, and if you guys are interested in this, I can do another video that's a little bit more comprehensive. But keep in mind, the bedroom, you're conditioning yourself to what happens in the bedroom. And as far as I'm concerned, the bedroom is only for 2 purposes, and that's it. And one of those is sleep. So don't do other things in the bedroom. Don't check your phone. Don't watch the news. Don't have the TV going. The bedroom is for sleep and the other thing. Okay, isn't red meat bad for you? Well, this kind of depends on the person, but not really. So a lot of where the red meat is bad thing came from these cholesterol studies back in the day that were really, as we're looking back at them now, were done so poorly that they should have never even been published. So, and now we've come to new conclusions that it's really heavily based on your genetics. So can you have an effect from exercise and nutrition? Yes, of course. But at the same time, so much of your genetics comes into this that it's really, you have to look at that factor. So is red meat bad for you? Not inherently. Really, there's a ton of good things in red meat that you really do want in your diet. It's a very, like, humans have used red meat for a very, very long period of time. We're not likely to be allergic to it. It has a ton of micronutrients. The protein is your stablest macronutrient. The fat that is in grass-fed beef is very, very good for you. So just something to consider there. Is red meat bad for you? This is a nuanced question, but for the most part, if I'm going to just make a blanket, paint with broad strokes answer, I'm going to say no, red meat is not bad for you. I just can't find the time. This is one that I hear on a pretty regular basis, and I just figured I'd end the video with this question because, as you know, we all are making our priorities, and whatever those priorities are is specific to you. And whatever priorities you do choose, that is, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like as live and let live as it gets. If you don't want to work out, that's your choice. That's how you want to live your life. That's how you've chosen. I would hope that I could influence and encourage and help along the way if it is something that you are interested in. If you're interested in a healthier lifestyle, if you're interested in losing some weight, if you're interested in gaining some muscle, if you're interested in changing the way that your body feels on a daily basis, if you're interested in performance, like the brain health that comes from strength and conditioning is extremely important. Anyway, if you're interested in those things, I want to help. But if it's just not a thing for you, it's just not a thing for you. So I really think it comes down to priorities. For instance, I bet you, and we all have priorities, like I bet you that you have never, well, in your adult life, never consciously just walked outside without clothes on and been like, oh, I must have forgot to put clothes on, you know, because putting clothes on is a priority. So you did the thing. Maybe you never leave the house without brushing your teeth. You made this a priority. It's such a priority that you don't even think about not doing it. It doesn't matter how late you were going to be to the thing and how far behind you were, you would still put on clothes and you'd still brush your teeth and then you'd run out the door, even though it was going to make you a little bit more late, right? It's a priority. So when exercise and nutrition and recovery and mindset and all this kind of stuff and living a better life and doing the things that you want to do in your life the way that you want to do them and inspiring yourself to free yourself from the old rules that were keeping you to the obstacles that you were setting in place for yourself, when you want to tear all those up, when you want to do just, I mean, you're obviously not going to take all those on at once, but when you want to chip away at that and create this like compounding effect to your future, you make it a priority. And you pull up all the stops, and that's when you will find the time because you will make the time. I've seen one mom, and specifically it's coming to mind right now. She would plan her workout around her daughter's softball games in a very interesting way, and it was kind of refreshing because she was committed. And when you get committed, like creativity kind of follows commitment. Not to be too much alliteration there, but it kind of does. It's like when you really commit to something, you come up with solutions to make that thing a thing. You know, you just kind of find a way. And it's anyway. You'll never find the time. You'll only make the time. So, anyway, if you have questions, ask them down below. I hope you guys got something out of this. If you are hating these videos, let me know. Let me know why. If you're getting something out of them, please let me know. If there's something that we can improve upon, please let me know. If you have a topic of discussion, even better, then I don't have to come up with the content. So anyway, ask away. I hope you guys have had a good Sunday, and I'm hoping for a great week ahead. The weather's supposed to be great too. So anyway, have a good day.